Welcome back to Movie Review Mom. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me here. Life is kind of crazy. The world is kind of crazy. I hope you're doing okay. But today I have got a crazy movie for you. It's called The Hunt. This movie is rated R. It's 1 hour and 30 minutes. And the movie review mom grade I'm going to give it is a D for dark humor and disgusting humor. So first, I don't know if you even are able to go to movies. I know everything is shut down in Nevada, where I live here in Las Vegas. So I know some theaters are open in other places. And if you get a chance to see this movie, I would probably say avoid it for right now. The opening of this movie is, in a quick nutshell, it's very quirky and it tells you that this movie instantly is going to be very different. And it is. It is a bloody battle between the liberal left godless elite and the conservative right that Hillary Clinton calls the deplorables. And those two names are mentioned in the movie. This is not something that we really need to be watching during this coronavirus when we're so desperately in need of pulling together and showing compassion for the greater good. It's a bloodfest draped in political extremism and hatred. Yes, it's satire. I get it. There will be people that actually like it and like the diversion during this stressful time in the world. But personally, I didn't like it. It's an over the top movie and it was going to be released many months ago, but they actually postponed it because of some mass shootings. There's a lot of violence, a lot of shooting. So they thought that that was inappropriate. And unfortunately, they released this right before the pandemic really started hitting in the United States. So it's an unfortunate timing for them. But even in pleasant times, it's just a real negative movie. Again, it's satire, but it's so filled with hate and violence and blood and disregard for human life that it's especially inappropriate now. So in case you've heard of it and you're like, oh, what is that? Maybe I'll go. I'm trying to just give you the heads up right now. Universal Studios and Blumhouse actually combined to create this movie. And what's funny is that their movie poster says the most talked about movie of the year is one that no one's actually seen. That was their original tagline for when it was going to open up in September. And of course, who would know that the pandemic would actually make that true, because nobody's going to theaters right now so much. And really, you shouldn't be, because you should be doing social isolation and safe social distancing. Now, some tips for parents. Again, this is a terribly violent movie that kids should not watch for sure. There's profanity, including 14,790 F-bombs. I didn't count them, but there are a lot. It's just, if you had to bleep out everything, the movie would basically be silent, is what I'm saying. The dead body count is 22, 23 if you count Orwell the pig. And by the way, this movie has an underlying message from Orwell's book, Animal Farm. And I think you're better off just getting the actual book and reading the literature rather than watching this. Some themes in the book are political extremism, as I mentioned, female empowerment in a very odd way, hatred, prejudice, rich versus poor, outrage gone crazy, and victimizing political ideology. So interesting topics for sure. Just the way that they're presented is just so over the top. Now, some things that I did like, I had to really think, because at first I wrote nothing, I can't think of anything. And then I thought, okay, first of all, Betty Gilpin is outstanding. And she's an equal match for Hilary Swank, who's also in the movie. There is just nonstop action from the very beginning all the way to the very end. There are lots of twists that make you wonder who the real protagonist is as bodies start dropping and new characters emerge. You're like, wait, who's the story about? And in a way that was kind of fun because you weren't sure. in a negative way, you're like, well, I don't know, who do I invest myself emotionally in? Anyway, the movie is directed by Craig Zobel, and it pokes fun at those on both sides of the political aisle. So that's good. You'll be offended no matter what your political ideologies are because of the crazy things, extreme things that are said in the movie. It's definitely bold, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of the movie Jojo Rabbit, where the satire is extreme and yet it makes a point. So if you liked Jojo Rabbit, you might actually really like this movie as well. I mentioned that the movie is very dark and offensive, but there is humor there, kind of like Jojo Rabbit. If you're not offended by that kind of dark humor, there are some funny moments. Now, some things I didn't like are that the movie is extremely polarizing and will make people on both sides of the political aisle angry. And that's the thing, is the movie just makes you angry, partly for how they're portraying both sides and just because it's such an angry movie in and of itself. Again, the things that I don't like are that it's so violent, bloody, and disgusting. Okay, and then another movie that, if you like this movie, you'll probably like the Purge franchise and all the movies in that. If you like the Purge and all of those movies in that franchise, you might like this one as well. Anyway, I think right now is the time to fill the world with love and happiness. But if you're into this kind of thing, there you go. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. And I especially love all of the great comments that are being shared in so many of my reviews. I love hearing from you. I love meeting you and getting to know you. So my wish for you today is be safe, wash your hands, and enjoy this unique time in the history of the world, certainly the history of my life. I've never seen anything like this before. So use this time to watch good movies that are uplifting or that make you laugh, because everybody's feeling so much fear and confused energy. So anyway, I wish you well. See you next time. Bye for now.